what is up? What is up? This is your buddy Alertwolf here to bring you another anime review, but this time it is on 009 Cyborg, the motion picture. Now, I was never a double O nine Cyborg guy. Growing up. I mean, the anime and the manga and stuff like that, and different versions of it, have been floating around for years and years and years. I've never been that big of a fan of it, but I do enjoy it whenever I would catch it. This is taking a unique and up-to-date stab at it in a post 9/11 apocalyptic world. Now, that is pretty nice. The box art looks cool. When you open it up, you get this lovely booklet. It's on the outside, and it's thick, full of pages. They explain all the backstory, everything that you may be confused about. There is like BIOS. This is like, if you're a fan of this, I mean, just look at the. Let's just break this out. Look at that art. That art is beautiful. This booklet alone is just so nice. And then inside the Blu-ray, we have, I left, I guess mine is still in there. There is a yellow disc, and as well as the red disc, and just your standard Blu-ray stuff. There are a couple of good featurettes in there, and behind the scenes stuffs and trailers, and that's pretty good as far as special features go. The movie was pretty good. The plot, I will say the plot's a little convoluted. Basically, they were inspired by the unfinished work before the manga's creator passed away, which is a story arc based on fighting angels and God, basically. So the movie itself kind of opens up. It's post 9/11. It's like kind of like after they're all retired. So they were Cold War creations. They're retired, all doing their separate things until mass bombings and destroyed buildings have caused them to become reactivated and reunited. Basically, the killers are hearing the voice of God, sort of, and inspired to do acts of terrorism because of the voice in their head. And what it is they find these fossils of angels, and somehow it makes people hear the voice of God who's telling them to kill people, apparently. Now, the plot itself is convoluted. It really is. The plot is probably the worst thing about this movie. However, the rest of this movie, the interplay between the characters, the animation, the action, the pacing, and that's all good. But the plot is just bad. It's just a bad plot. And I understand it's because it's based on something that wasn't finished. But there's no real villain. They're the people that are being exposed to this thing. And there was almost sort of an explanation. And it's very pseudo-intellectually Japanese style of an explanation when they start talking about metaphysics, and it's like, well, Freud believed that God's a creation made by primitive man to explain death, and if that's true, then maybe and they get to a point where we're subconsciously creating God and we are God, and they quote Buddha, and it's this, you can tell it's this discussion that tries to sound super intelligent about the concept of good and evil and God, and very convoluted. Because even in that, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about explanation, they didn't really explain anything. So basically, you heard, and one of the main characters, Joe, who's 009, and his power is super speed. He also hears the voice, but that's partially because he was going to commit an act of terrorism because his mind keeps getting wiped every 3 years because he doesn't age because he's a freaking robot and he's been reliving high school. He's also slightly nuts and sees this girl that doesn't really exist. So there's that. And speaking of things that don't really exist in this movie, a bunch of them see this floating white girl right before they hear. It's supposed to represent, this little girl is supposed to represent his word, meaning the word of God. Sort of, maybe. I don't know. They didn't really explain it. And even when the movie ends, they're reunited in a way, sort of, and nobody explains that. Either they sort of saying it was a miracle, maybe sort of the God who's fake but real, but good but bad, did a miracle or didn't. That I didn't enjoy because the rest of the movie was so good. Just seeing all the characters together. You have 1 through 9, and they're redesigned slightly for a modern look. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of this anime and this franchise, but I had goosebumps when you saw them all wearing the red with the yellow scarf, like this outfit. When they were dressed like this is like, it's like watching a superhero movie where they never had time to put on their costumes, right? They haven't had time to put on the cape and to be, Superman or whatever, to be heroes, They haven't had the time to be like, you know what I mean? And there was that scene in the movie, and you get that, and it's good. So, like I said, the plot bothers me. I want there to be, and it really didn't solve anything, right? They stopped the immediate threat, but they didn't really stop any of it. Sort of, maybe. I mean, hopefully this leads to another series or another movie. I don't know. I didn't look it up to see where they're going with this. Like I said, now, weird, gaudy, not God plot aside, you had really good moments. When the fight scenes and the battle scenes when they're fighting the robots and you get to see what their powers really are, is great, 009, he outrun an atomic explosion in this movie. His feats of super speed are next to the Flash, and that's awesome to see. So, again, I really enjoyed the motion picture. It held my attention. Plot holes aside, it was enjoyable. So what am I going to rate this movie as? I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. It was very good. That's what I'll say. It wasn't great, and it wasn't excellent. I think the plot really stopped that from being better. The non-existent villain, the weird sort of miracles, it's really what takes this down from a 5 to a 3.5. But a 3.5 is a very good thing. Now, total value, if you're a fan of the franchise, you're gonna love this movie. There's homage and they're very good, and you can tell the people that designed this truly do love the original work. The packaging is great. The content you get with it is good, so it is well worth the money. But that's enough out of me for this one. So, again, 3.5 out of 5. But click it up if you like it. Comment if you must, and please, please, please subscribe if you can. And this is your buddy, Alert Wolf, signing out.